Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely pumped to have you here today because we are going to dissect something truly groundbreaking in the digital business landscape. We're unpacking the Income Engine OS, specifically the Arabic AI Entrepreneurship Operating System. Now, if you're interested in building a digital business that actually survives the test of time, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to move way past that generic, surface-level advice you see plastered all over the internet and really look at the raw mechanics of a system built for absolute resilience.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Why is positioning yourself purely as an expert in one specific tactic, like, say, being the email CPA guy, basically a complete death sentence for your brand? Well, think about it. The digital landscape is incredibly volatile, right? If your entire identity is built around a single, highly specific tactic, what happens when Gmail suddenly tightens its spam filters overnight? Or what if cost per action, CPA, payouts just dramatically drop across the board? If you're just the email CPA guy, your entire business identity collapses instantly. You literally become as fragile as a tent in a sandstorm. You are completely at the mercy of algorithms and payout structures that you have zero control over.
So let's look at the ultimate strategic contrast here. On one side, we have the old paradigm, the classic make money online guru. This is that fragile tent in the sandstorm we just talked about. It's built entirely on hype and single point of failure tactics. But on the other side, we have the new paradigm, the Arabic AI Business Operating System. This is a resilient machine. The profound difference here is that when you build an operating system, email CPA is really just your very first module. It's a starting point, not the whole company. When the market inevitably shifts, and trust me, it always will, you simply pivot the tactical beachhead, but you don't have to burn down the entire brand. The operating system survives. The tribe you've built stays with you because, well, they bought into the system, not just the single tactic.
All right, moving into Section 1, the Income Engine OS, a proven 12-gear machine.
And this brilliantly illustrates a core truth. Before we go any further, I want to make something crystal clear. The market is completely saturated with vague promises of AI income streams. But what we're analyzing today is a rigorously tested, mechanical system. In fact, a recent €1 million red team audit delivered a pretty powerful verdict on this. Now, for those who might not know, a red team audit is where external experts are brought in to aggressively attack and find the flaws in a business plan. They really pressure tested this grand vision of an operating system, and their conclusion was undeniable. Yes, build the OS, but you absolutely must earn it through beachhead dominance first. You can't just build a massive ecosystem blindly on day one. You have to earn the right to expand through intense discipline and proven success in one specific area first.
So what does this machine actually look like when it's running? Well, the engine is already built, and here are just a few of its specific mechanical gears. Step 1. Persona-aware emails. The AI isn't just spitting out generic text. It understands exactly who it's talking to. Step 2. URL-grounded content. This is huge because it ensures the output is factually anchored to specific, relevant web pages, completely preventing those crazy AI hallucinations. And Step 3. Compliant footers. This ensures legal and platform compliance is built directly into the automated process. This is exactly what we mean by a 12-gear machine. It's highly specific, it's completely non-generic, and the engine is already running. The challenge for founders now isn't building the engine, it's figuring out how to scale it without breaking the whole thing.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds, the ecosystem trap risk, the danger of building way too much.
Now, scaling sounds amazing, right? But there is a massive hazard lying in wait here, and it's called the ecosystem trap. That red team audit we just discussed, they identified this as fatal risk number 1. It's the fatal mistake of launching multiple tracks, like an AI agency module, followed immediately by a sauce builder module, followed by automation courses, all before you have totally dominated your primary beachhead. Standard business advice often tells founders to just niche down, which usually just translates to pick a specific topic. But then, the absolute second they see a little bit of success, they try to build an entire ecosystem all at once. The ecosystem trap warns us, with extreme urgency, that building too many things simultaneously is the absolute fastest way to kill a working system.
Which brings us to Section 3, the beachhead strategy. This is all about ruthless focus over limitation. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we actually cure that ecosystem trap. We need to completely redefine what a beachhead means in the context of the Income Engine OS. It's not about limiting your long-term vision, it's about applying ruthless, uncompromising focus in the short term to guarantee that your long-term vision actually survives. It requires a very strict timeline. Month 0, launch the Email CPA beachhead. Month 6, optimize Email CPA and only Email CPA. Month 12, maintain Email CPA dominance.
For an entire year, there are no AI agency tracks. There are no SaaS builders. There are absolutely zero distractions. The Academy, the community, and the operating system itself serve exclusively email CPA for the first 12 months. Now, to a lot of ambitious entrepreneurs, this feels terribly restrictive. But actually, scratch that. It's not restrictive. It's protective.
To put that into perspective, think about this historical fact. Apple didn't launch the App Store until they had completely dominated portable music with the iPod. They established a massive, unshakable beachhead first. Delaying your expansion isn't a limitation. It is exactly how resilient, multi-billion-dollar empires are built. You secure the territory, you prove the mechanics, you build a fiercely loyal tribe, and only then do you introduce the next track.
Okay, Section 4, Unlocking the Metric Gates. How we actually earn the right to scale. So, if you're holding back on expansion for 12 whole months, how do you know when it's actually safe to launch that next module? Well, you don't guess. You definitely don't go by gut feeling. You rely on what the system calls metric gates. These are specific, non-negotiable criteria that act as literal keys to a locked gate. You have to earn the right to scale. And here's a pretty intimidating key: $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue, or MRR. The gate to expansion remains locked tight until this specific beachhead, email CPA, crosses that $10,000 MRR threshold. If you're at $9,000, actually, even if you're at $9,999, that gate stays locked. You do not get to launch the AI agency track. This brilliantly forces you to fix the leaks in your current machine rather than just distracting yourself by building a brand new one.
So the crucial point is that MRR isn't the only lock on the gate. There's a strict list of metrics required to unlock expansion. First, commission time, or FCT, must be under 7 days. This means your students or users literally have to see a tangible result incredibly fast, proving the system actually works. We already mentioned the MRR must be greater than $10,000. Retention must be greater than 60%, proving that people aren't just buying once, they're sticking around because the value is real. And finally, you must have 50 or more members actively earning. Every single one of these metrics must be hit simultaneously while serving exclusively email CPA. Only then do you possess the keys to open the gate and launch the next module of the OS.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you building a fragile tent in a sandstorm, completely dependent on one single algorithm or one payout structure staying exactly the same forever? Or are you ready to embrace the immense discipline required to build an engine that is truly built to last? The Arabic AI entrepreneur of the future won't be some generic guru peddling the tactic of the month. No way. They will be the architect of a resilient operating system, someone who earns their right to scale by dominating one beachhead at a time. Look, it requires patience, it requires ruthless focus, and it definitely requires hitting those strict metric gates. But as that €1 million audit proved, it's absolutely the only way to build an empire that survives the storm. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Income Engine OS.